When you live quite deliberately, from the outside looking in, it does not look like freedom. And yet when it's voluntary, and liberation comes in many forms, when it's a decision towards the freedom that you truly crave, it's freedom. And we back with another reflection on the daily Vedantic, and today's reflection is on a topic that, well, it seems so unrelated to spiritual growth, to philosophical insight, and yet it is the foundation for it. And that is the concept of standardizing your life. Swami will mention this often around designing your life. And it's this concept of standardizing what you do, what you wear, where you go, how you do what you do, so that you can optimize clarity and thought space. Steve Jobs made this famous with wearing the same thing every day and sticking to that. And then a lot of founders in all of the circles that I ran with in Silicon Valley would do something similar. And that was around a worldly pursuit, maximizing your productivity, your focus, so that you weren't just making 48 decisions each morning before you got to the office at 9 a.m. and you had decision fatigue because you were already deciding what to wear, what to eat, where to go get a coffee. But instead, you had that all routinized, planned out, standardized to where by the time you got to the office, you had made very few decisions. Because you woke up, you knew exactly what you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, the route you're going to take to work, the fact that you were going to make your coffee at home instead of going to a coffee shop with a variable of whether you're going to find parking or not. All of these things would go into optimizing yourself for productivity. Swami will talk about this similarly, but instead of optimizing for productivity, it's optimizing for clarity and thought space. Optimizing for freedom within ourselves. What is so ironic about this is, and paradoxical is, when you live quite deliberately, from the outside looking in, it does not look like freedom. Prisoners wear the same thing every day. Kids at a private school wear the same thing every day. And yet when it's voluntary, and liberation comes in many forms, when it is a decision towards a freedom that you truly crave, an inner freedom. From the outside looking in, it looks like you're chained to a desk, or you don't like to travel, or you only have one outfit. You have the same routine that you're locked into each morning. And yet, it's freedom. Instead of spending time choosing between 25 different outfits, you get to spend that time thinking through an idea that you haven't quite cracked. Maybe it's more mundane. You get to spend more time with your child. Instead of spending so much time thinking through, should I go to the gym? Should I not? You have it standardized, routinized, to where you know, all right, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, these are the exact times that I go to the gym. There's no waffling. You actually save time. Instead of procrastinating, instead of renegotiating every day or every week, you know exactly what you're going to do when. It is like train tracks. In some sense, you're locked into those train tracks if you're a train upon those tracks. But that train without those tracks wouldn't hardly go anywhere. But upon those tracks, it can go from Shanghai to Beijing in 3 hours. I actually have no idea. And I wish we had more trains here in the US because I actually love traveling by train. But those train tracks, paradoxically, They are freedom for the passengers on that train. Similarly, when we standardize our life, maybe you've got 5 different outfits you wear. Doesn't have to be monkish, but you have the 3 days a week that you go to the gym and you go hard. You have the same breakfast or morning routine so that you can get into a groove instantaneously. Your body just knows by waking up at the same time every morning, your body just knows, okay, we're about to wake up. And that's quite legitimate. That's actually some of the best advice I ever got in my life was from a sleep doctor 10, 11 years ago. She told me to wake up every morning at the exact same time. It actually doesn't matter as much when you go to bed, although that is a factor as well. But even more importantly, wake up every morning at the exact same time, and it will set your 24-hour circadian rhythm. It changed everything for me to wake up every morning at the same time. My whole biology, instead of waking up at 6 and then 8 and then 7 and then 9 and then Saturday sleep until 11, my entire biology was like I was working with my biology instead of against it. Similarly, when we set up these routines and standardize down to the type of pen we like to use, all the way to the time each morning that we get up, you end up creating these grooves, these tracks to get you to where you really want to go. And when you standardize all of these unnecessary aspects of life so that you can focus on the necessary, so you haven't wasted mental cycles and mental energy around the unnecessary, you get to dedicate it towards the necessary. And that might be a professional milestone you're aiming for. That might be personal growth development, spiritual progress, cultivation of relationships that you want to cultivate. But you actually have all of these reservoirs of energy and focus for these higher order tasks because you haven't pissed it away on all of these lower level ones. This concept of standardization, I've never heard a lecture on it in any other spiritual context besides Vedantic one. Never heard a sermon on the pulpit on standardizing your life. But as Swami will say often, prayer is not a part-time pastime. It's not something you do for an hour on Sundays, an hour on the Sabbath, an hour at temple once a week. It's something that if you approach it sincerely, it bleeds into you deciding what time to wake up, or what to keep in your closet, what to give away. And it optimizes this inner freedom. The freedom that you start to orient. The freedom that really matters. The freedom that you crave more and more as you start to tap into it. That is today's reflection on the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you next time.